movie was kind of good. Welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Netflix Below Zero. Now, I was not looking to watch this movie. I have been getting on Netflix for like a week straight, trying to watch White Tiger, and I keep watching other shit. But since I did watch it and I did enjoy it, I want you guys to watch it and enjoy it too. Before we get into what I love so much about this movie and why I feel like you guys should watch it, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a second to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things police. Guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me. Let's get into this movie now. And cutting this movie on or just watching the trailer, because I don't read nobody's synopsis, you start to think that this is your typical inmate versus police movie. You know, the police ranking on the inmates, giving them a hard time, and vice versa, and something that we've seen all the time. But as we get into the film, we realize that it's so much more than that. Now, we start off by just brutal attack on this man, and you just don't know what's going on, but you do know that there is a man who is inquiring physically, trying to see where his daughter is by blunt force. And we see just in the beginning how far he's willing to go to get information out about his daughter, to just go from not only severely beating this man, but, you know, burying him alive. We see punches. It's just like real brutal violence, like 2 seconds into the movie. Love it. Now we get into our lead officer that we are following, and we do, you know, spend a little short amount of time with him, enough to know that he has a loving wife and children. Now, we are introduced to several inmates at a check-in point, and we are made to understand that they are being transported somewhere in kind of like a on-wheels jail armored truck situation. And as we're meeting these inmates, you start to kind of prejudge and make your own notions about them. And much later, you realize it was a setup for you to feel like one inmate was, you know, some way and the others were another. You kind of get your pick and feel of who may be, you know, a threat and who's not. Now, once we get into the armor truck and we see, you know, what these men are in for, what they've done, and what they're willing to do to get out of the situations. All the men in this truck are in there for something different and have their own agendas about what they feel like should be happening and what they're going to do to get out of this truck. But unbeknownst to them, there is an outside element, the gentleman that we met in the beginning of the movie that we never actually see, trying to get in the truck, but we don't understand why. And he's willing to do anything to get into this truck. And once we get to that point of the movie, it flips and it turns into something else, and it gets really interesting and becomes much more than a prison inmate movie. Now, unlike at the start of the film where you see that most of these officers have the upper hand, you see how quickly things can go astray when the officer is out alone. Not only is he alone, but there is an outside threat that could care less about his life as well as the inmates, because he wants a particular inmate that is inside the armored car. Now, from the outside looking in, it appears that there's I believe it was Russian, Norwegian, something around the Rocky, I must break you. Don't judge me. I don't know. He was one of those, you know, one of those blunt Russian. I don't know. One of those. We think that the guy outside was sent to get this man out. And we're just trying to figure out, you know, why, what's going on. We have that storyline going on, but we also have another inmate who seems to have been to jail several times and has, you know, multiple tricks up his sleeve. You know, you've seen him kind of finesse the cops in the beginning so that he wasn't, you know, made to maybe cough and squat and all those things, because you just feel like, oh, you've been around the block, you know what's going on, let's just get him in there. All the while, he has a plan to get out of his handcuffs and get out of this cell. And I'm like, okay, sir, where were you going to go with this? Because before all the wreckage happened, there were 4 officers in this truck. So like, how is that going to work? But you have him on his own agenda trying to get out. You also have inmates yelling all the time. And then you have a car that is stuck with officers who are being picked off every minute. Now, despite the criminals and their crimes and whatever they may be there for, the movie does a really good job of making you identify with every single inmate. There is not one obsolete character here, all the way from the police officers to the antagonizer outside of the truck to everybody inside of the truck. There is not one person here that I just felt like it kind of reminded me of Con Air, when you like we kind of meet all these inmates, and it's just like a setup for, you know, people to be killed off. You don't really feel too personal with them besides a couple, and, you know, of course, Nicolas Cage's character. But this was not the case here. You really identified with them and understood, right or wrong, why they were going to jail and what they were doing in the car in the first place. Now, as the officer is left alone in this truck, due to this outside antagonizer, all of the inmates are pretty much released. At first, it was just one who, you know, magically unhandcuffed himself and, you know, was initially a threat. But once everybody's out and it's like 5 against 1, it's like, you know, what are we going to do? But the outside antagonizer lets it be known that I only want this one kid. This one kid who has been there, who has been really quiet for the most part, talked a little shit at check-in, but, you know, nothing too brutal. Now, when we get to the point that he lets it be known that I only want him and I will let you all go, open the door, and they go to attack the officer, and you see just how far this young man is willing to go to not get that door open, and he bashes in ahead. It's like, okay, you are not who you say you are. You are not who you say you are. You're not this innocent young kid who just, you know, happened. There was more going on. Did you see how he bust his head in? Did you see? Now, from that moment, it's a whole roller coaster ride of things happening that keeps you entertained from start to finish. There was never a boring moment in this movie, and I loved it. It's a, you know, a game of, you know, who can you trust? What should we do? What can we do next? We just want to live, but will we have the opportunity to? And you slowly see the officer get to know the inmates in no way, shape, or form that he would have if he wasn't in that situation. You get to know their backstories and why they're there and why they want to live, why I want to be beyond this truck. I may be an inmate, but I am still a person. That's what I got from this movie more than anything. Now, since this kid, you know, this innocent kid swallowed the key, they have no way to open the door. So they are tasked with trying to find a way to open this door, or what, we don't know. We just know that he is prepared to kill. Like, I just want justice. Now, we go outside of the truck and finally see the man, and he just looks like your everyday man. Now, from, you know, the clip in the beginning, all the things that he's willing to do to get inside that truck, because he, at this point, has killed several people, and you see him, and he just looks like your regular everyday dad. And you see, you know, inklings in his car that, he is, you know, someone's father. You see, you know, stickers, pictures, and things of that sort. And you see that what his motivation is and why he's so hell-bent on these things. Now, you don't instantly know what is going on, but, you know, you do see the pictures of the daughter. You know, something went on with the daughter. He's saying, where is she? And it's just, you start to kind of match things up with, okay, he's saying, you know, where is she? But we never actually see her. We don't see anyone being held captive or, you know, someone waiting to be. This kid has already been, you know, handcuffed and is going to jail, and he's already killed someone prior. So you start to kind of think to yourself that maybe this young lady might be dead. Now, as the story is going, you are doing your best to try to see what exactly could he have done to make this man want him out of that truck alive so badly, to see where his daughter is. And you just get the warmness, all this warmness from this character. I didn't do anything and I'm this, but you see the policeman kind of inquire and go, well, you know, why did you bash his head in? That's not in your profile. That in no way fits what's going on. So what made you do that? And it's just kind of brushed off as, you know, it's him. He's trying to portray the man as, you know, a rogue police officer who's lost his mind and is just, you know, trying to pin something on him. Now, getting towards the end, we really start to see these men bond and them kind of just want to live. And while this is happening, you slowly see them kind of get picked off, and it became like a mini horror movie. I was like, oh my gosh, this is brutal. It was good. But you see the men, against their judgment, they just happen to lose their life in certain scenarios that are occurring with either someone trying to stop the truck, get in the truck, or get out. We've already seen someone burned alive. We've already seen someone, impaled on a screw. We've seen it's just like, oh gosh, who is going to make it out of here? Now, once we get to the end and the man is just spent, like, no, you guys are taking too long to get out or get him out. And you see what his plan was the whole time, to take that truck all the way out to thin ice. And just, I was like, damn, like this was your plan, brutal. Like, he was like, no, I'm not taking. And you're just the whole movie trying to understand what is going on. Why is he so adamant about this young man being killed? Because at this point, he's, innocent. Now we see these men go from fighting each other to fighting for their lives to trying to get out. I was like, oh my God, is this going to be a, gosh, what is that movie where, they went and cracked the ice and, gosh, with the bad son? The good son, where he, pushes his sister in and they're trying to get her out before the ice freezes. I was like, oh, y'all got to get out of there. And we see them clamoring, like it gets so intense. This movie is so intense. I love it. It gets so intense. And at that point, you're like, well, damn, are they going to make it out? But we get a really good glimpse at the young man's agenda when he goes out of his way to make it out first and could care less if the man made it out at all and runs off. And I was like, oh, shoot it. Now, it's at this point we get to see how much the officer has switched from the beginning, and he identifies with all the inmates, especially one who's in, for robbing a bank, and he wants to open a bar, and he sung at his wedding. And you just see, you're waiting to see, what is he going to do? Not only did this man help you out of this icy cold water, you guys butted heads at first, but right now he's saving your life. He's giving you mouth to mouth. So are you going to, try to hold him captive and have him arrested? Or are you going to let him escape? And he decides to let him escape and call it a day. And that's, the turning point for this officer. Now, when we get to, him following the man who we think is just, rogue and trying to shoot someone, we finally are made to understand that the guy from the beginning of the film and the current guy outside R-word his daughter and did, a lot of obscene things to his 13-year-old daughter. And he just wants to know where her body is so he can bury her properly. And the movie took a whole turn. It was like, well, damn. Like, I was hoping that, she was being held. Like, no, she's dead. And you get to see just how brutal it sounds just from him describing it. We don't actually see anything, but it's enough for us to just feel disgusted about it and just feel so... You just identify with everybody. You instantly, like, and he's been trying to kill people the whole movie, but you're instantly like, yeah, stay on that ass. Shoot him. No, don't look away from the window. We need him shot. Once you see the officer try to go for the gun to stop him, and you're just, indecisive yourself, like, I want him to stop him, but I don't. Do we know that this kid actually did something? He hasn't showed anything this whole film to be that kind of character, except for swim his ass out of that armor truck real fast. You see how fast he got out of there and just like, oh, I'm walking off. We saw that, and we saw, that blunt force. We got, small, subtle hints to the type of character he was, and I loved it. Like, they didn't just, drop so much. Like, you didn't even know from the beginning, like, oh, he's here for you? We would have never thought he was here for you. But, you see him, and it's like, we don't want you to stop him, but we do. But once we get outside and we're at the standoff and the officers are there and they're finally being rescued, you see that kid. I need to look up the actor because he was good. You see, like, him go from regular, it was like Joker. Like, bitch, I'm never going to tell you where she's buried. No, you didn't. Shoot him. It was Smokey. Shoot him. Like, he needs to go. And you see how devastated this man that we are identifying with, who has been killing everybody, like, he wouldn't have had a second thought about shooting any of you just to get to this man. But you're identifying with him because just like this officer, most of us are parents, and you have no hesitation on what you might do if your children are involved. That's a whole different story. And once you like, like, are you gonna really like let them get arrested? And he's not gonna even say where she's buried, and this man is just so devastated on the ground. Granted, he's a murderer, but he's a dad too. When he shoots him, I was like, yeah, ass, shoot him again. And he says, tell him, and you see that switch, and you not only see this officer not only identify with most of the inmates that were there, partially identify with the young man who was in the cage, who we thought was innocent, then identify with the murderer and the antagonizer who murdered his whole team, along with other inmates, along with, from the sounds of it, people before, just to get to this point. And it's just like, the emotions we can go through in a day. Like when he blew his hand off, I was like, yes, shoot the other one. But he finally tells him, where she's buried and that she's in a well. And we get that deep sigh of relief. And we see the passion that this officer had in the beginning as just an officer is gone. At this point, we've identified and made full circle with every single person. And the movie just lets you know that people are just people. People, are in different positions where we may have, this murderer, these inmates, people for robbery, of other people in there, for just all kinds of things. But at the end of the day, we're all just people. If you take a second to stop and think, you can identify with each of them, each one of them. Not only, with this man who robbed this bar, but with this man who is willing to kill just to find his baby. It was good, y'all. We end the movie, with them kind of letting us know, they're taking the tag off and replacing it. Like, we're all replaceable. And you kind of see something in the officer, like, do I really want to continue doing this? You don't see him in uniform anymore, but you don't really know. It just ends, on a guessing. But you just feel like it's like, this is maybe a cycle I don't want to be a part of anymore. Like, the inmates will be replaced with more inmates, and the officers all, taken out, shot, and murdered, they're replaced too. And those credits roll. Y'all, this was a good movie. I enjoyed it. Please drop down and let me know what you guys thought about the film, and if you feel like it was as good as I did. I thought it was good. If you have not watched this film, like, go watch it. I really should stop saying at the end of my videos, because this is a spoiler channel. One more person got one more time to get in the comments and be like, oh, you spoiled it. I did. This is a spoiler channel. I'm not just discussing what y'all think I'm talking about for a 30-minute video. But that was my video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please be on the lookout for my White Tiger. I'm gonna do it. And my Wendy Williams film review. I see you guys next time. Bye.